thank you all for joining us. This was the closing night film, Revenge Ride, for Grimfest. So excited. It was fantastic to screen the movie and to premiere the film. Steve and I are going to say goodbye to everybody who's watching, and thank everybody for joining Grimfest and being part of it. And thank you guys for being with us for this final Q&A. We have Josh from Dread Central, who's going to be hosting the Q&A for us, which is very cool. And all you guys, which I will let Josh introduce himself and introduce you. And it just remains for me to say goodbye. And Steve?
Yeah, thank you, everyone, for your support this year, for your faith in us as a festival this year. It's been a tough time for us all. Programming, everything else. It's been really bizarre, and it's been terrific that filmmakers, the performers, everyone else has been so supportive too and has come along and been part of this. So all I'm going to say now is I'm having a large drink, and you should all do the same.
Yes,
we'll leave you to
supporting the movie.
Good night.
See you later. Bye.
Nice to meet you all.
Bye.
Cheers.
Okay, what do I do to stop this?
Thanks for that wonderful introduction. Like they said, I'm Josh Milliken. I'm the editor-in-chief of Dread Central. And it's truly an honor to have been invited to not only be a part of the jury, but to moderate this Q&A on closing night at Grimfest 2020, one for the books, unlike any year before or hopefully after. And we're going to be talking about Revenge Ride. I'm here with the cast and the director, and I'm really excited to kind of dive into the film, what makes it special, and why you should check it out. So let me introduce everyone I'm here with. First of all, we have the director, Melanie, excuse me if I butcher your last name, Melanie.
Okay. Aikenhead, yeah, you did good.
Fantastic. You were actually born in Guatemala City, Guatemala,
yes.
And you have a degree in film and TV production from USC. So
yes.
Fantastic. And am I correct? Revenge Ride is a feature-length version of a short film you did called Blood Ride.
No, actually, the original title of this movie was supposed to be, it was called Blood Ride. And then,
okay, so it's a little confusing in IMDb. I'm like, wait, it was a short film with the exact same cast and everyone? Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. Well, fantastic, though. Congratulations on having your film accepted at Grimfest. And
thank you.
I'll be back at you shortly with some questions. Next, I wanted to introduce Jake Lockett, who plays Keegan Harris, the villain of Revenge Ride. So boo hiss.
Boo.
Congratulations on being able to tackle such a difficult role. I was doing a little research on you, and it's really interesting because I could tell you're an athlete. I mean, your body is cut, but you're also a singer and a dancer and a scholar, correct?
Yeah, I used to, my degree's in aerospace engineering. Yeah.
So you're basically an actor and a rocket scientist.
I think I have that shirt somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah. Gotta be. I can't be the first one to point that out. But I'm really glad you're here.
Yeah, thank you guys.
And we'll touch on that, but you came through fantastic. Next we
awesome.
have
Thank you.
Vanessa, and again, forgive me if I butcher your name, which I'm famous for as my special talent. Vanessa DeBasso?
Yeah, you got it. That's right.
Fantastic. You play Mary. Your character is kind of the spark that sets off this brutal and bloody powder keg of a situation. You've done mostly TV work, but you've also done some horror. Am I correct?
Horror. I mean, I did Legion, which was on FX, and that's kind of horror in a way, more supernatural.
I always got to bring in the horror because Dread Central and our fans who I'm going to bring this to are really into horror. But no, we're really happy to have you here. Your role was also a difficult one, and we'll talk about that in a moment after I introduce the final panelist. Last but certainly not least, because I'm going to have to try not to gush, Pollyanna McIntosh. Really a legend in indie horror and now in mainstream horror. I've been doing horror journalism for about 10 years, and I remember when The Woman played at Sundance. I wasn't there, but just the controversy had me instantly hooked. And then Darling was one of my favorite movies of the year, and the way that you were getting ownership of the story that you made so iconic, the character you made so iconic, brilliant. In full disclosure, I do watch The Walking Dead, but the Jadis story arc, the Jadis seasons were some of the best. I really enjoyed all of that. So Pollyanna, or do you prefer to be called Polly? Welcome.
Well, after that beautiful introduction, you can call me what you like. Thanks very much.
Thank you. Polly plays Trigga. One of the leader of the Bad Moon biker gang. A tour de force performance. I was thinking if I was ever going to comprise a team of female bodyguards to protect me from anything, it would be the woman Jadis. It's like so why don't I use that as a jumping off point for my first question? I mean, you play such incredible, powerful women. Is it because these parts come to you, or is it because these are really the parts that you accept?
I spent a lot of time in LA in waiting rooms for castings with women about half my size, knowing full well that, the role was probably not going to go to me. And it was really the woman that showed people, that gave me a sort of jumping off point as an actor in this country. So I think a lot of it is honestly just due to stature, because I'm 5'11" and I've got broad shoulders and my hair is dark and my voice is strong, I suppose. And perhaps because I've always done things rather 110%, when I'm given an opportunity to audition for a role like that, although I didn't audition for the woman, I ended up getting cast because the director from Offspring knew my work from Headspace, because we'd worked together, and he offered me that role. It's the first role I'd been offered of the woman in Offspring, where I didn't have to audition, just read this delicious book and go, oh my God, really? This is amazing. So that's how the woman came to be after that. But yeah, I think just if I'm auditioning for that kind of a role, I'm more likely to be noticed, because I suppose I really love to, it's very much acting, isn't it? It's like, all of us as actors appreciate roles where you can kind of disappear and get really into it,
Fantastic.
Plus, I'm just really evil as well, so that helps.
I wouldn't fuck with you, that's for sure. I hope I'm allowed to let the occasional F-bomb slip. But,
I think the Grimfest audience will appreciate that. And hello, Manchester. Right, it's so weird that we can't see you, but mwah.
Well, listen, I want to pivot over to Melanie, but this question is really something I want all of you to think about, because I think that the film is important and it's timely. It's timely for a lot of reasons. I mean, there are a lot of social issues that have kind of come to the forefront. But I was on a panel of women horror journalists. Ironically, I guess they wanted a little variety. But someone was asking about the exploitation subgenre. And as the conversation progressed, we stopped calling it the exploitation subgenre and we started calling it the revenge subgenre. And I felt like that was really telling. I feel like it shows a shift in the way critics and audiences see this type of film. Because if you think about it, even the old school exploitation films, the exploitation ends very early and the revenge is really acts 2 and 3. And there's empowerment in that. So I was thinking about, though, how Revenge Ride is more of a nuanced film. There's a tragedy to it that you don't get in some of these other revenge films. And in some ways, I felt like it robbed both the characters and the viewers of a kind of catharsis that you get with some of those. But it made it a much more like Shakespearean tragedy. So I was really wondering, does Revenge Ride say that, any attempt at pure revenge is a corrupt endeavor? And if so, what does that mean about retribution and justice? So there you go. There's a softball for you, Melanie.
No, I think like the revenge theme is so important, and we want that moment of catharsis in any revenge movie. I think this is very much a revenge movie, but in a way it's Maggie's story. And it's how, she's looking for revenge, but at the end, what she really needs is to let go of the hate in her heart. And the people that she trusted the most are ultimately the people that leave her to die, So I think it's a movie about revenge, but it's also a movie about redemption. you know, because she found love. She was able to not only have hate in her heart to, you know, as Trigga, you know, she couldn't see the light. She was only darkness. So in Revenge Ride, I'm definitely not saying anything about just the revenge theme. I think every movie that has a catharsis is great. And I think you sort of get a catharsis with this one. It's tragic because, you know, she ends up, you know, losing the person that had, you know, softened her heart. But at the end, I see it as a happy ending because she lets go of this biker gang who at the end didn't have her best interest at heart.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, fantastic. I'm starting to get some questions from the audience, but I want to get a couple questions in first. Jake, I want to ask you kind of a tough one. You know, like I mentioned before, it was obvious that you're an athlete. I was looking at your hobbies on IMDb, and it's like, what don't you do? You know, plus the dancing. You know, on the one hand, the jock rapist is kind of a stereotype. But as somebody who is very athletic, do you find that there are still traces of this terrible, entitled, violent attitude in circles of athletes?
I mean, you know, this film takes things as far as they can in reality, but I mean, look at the world we live in. This stuff's out there, you know. That's the hardest part about the realization of this movie, and I think what the other Q&As we've done prior to this have pointed out is like, this is a reality for people, and you know, maybe not the like, you know, fighting to the death in the quarry, but you know, as far as like dealing with, you know, rape and everything that goes into that, and the PTSD of all of that, like this is a real thing. So unfortunately, I don't think it's gone in the world. This isn't a fairy tale. This isn't a nightmare necessarily. This is a reality, and it's, you know, it's epitomized in, you know, for those of us in the U.S. and some of the people in our government, and it's pretty it's surreal to watch it like this and have a point of view when the reality of the situation is people are dealing with this in real life.
Right. Well said. Vanessa, you know, I mentioned before your character Mary is the linchpin of this entire story. It's her assault that sets this brutal story into action. Can you just talk a little bit about what it was like playing the part and how you approached the character and the character's evolution?
I mean, it was a horrible and traumatizing event that took place to her, but she had this amazing group of women who supported her and basically led her into how she should handle the whole situation by getting her revenge, which she did. But I think her character, she was such a loving and innocent and humble person at the end. No matter what, she didn't want anyone to die, and she was able to not let hate control her heart at the end of the day. And that's what we have to think about, you know, being a person and what we go through, even though they can be horrible experiences. We have to know that it's important to feel all that we can feel, the bad and the good, and become who we're supposed to be from that.
Oh, fantastic. All right, I'm about to read you some questions from the audience, but one more thing first, because I did read in the Grimfest program that there, I don't know if it's a rumor or semi-confirmed that some of the extras actually were in a female bike gang. Is any truth to that?
Yeah, they were all bikers. Yeah,
and
a lot of them
gang in Ohio. Yeah.
Wow,
a lot of them did good work in their gangs too. Like a lot of them raised a lot of money for charity and that, you know. So they weren't all troublemakers, but they were badass for sure.
They were badass. As someone who, you know, felt the brunt of some of them in the scenes, like they didn't hold back. And I didn't have it as much because I had some of the other actors like doing most of the stuff to me, but some of the other guys, some of my two henchmen, if you will, definitely felt the brunt.
That's pretty funny.
That's
and
rough.
This dovetails perfectly into the first question, which is for all of you. Have you ever wanted to be in a gang? And if so, why? What was the appeal?
I just got my motorcycle license. So
There you
that's
go.
Hey,
Inspired by Revenge.
you're on
Ride.
your way.
gang. We can all be a gang now. You guys sound
Exactly.
There we go.
Yeah, and Serinda can ride. I can ride a teeny
Yeah.
bit. I'll be on the back in a 3-wheeler.
There you go. I've been riding since I was like 15, so let's do this.
There you go. There you go. All right. Let me see. A question for Melanie. What was the inspiration for Pollyanna's character? What was? Or I guess you didn't write it, but what do you know about Trigga's origins?
Yeah, you know, I didn't write it, but Trigga's like I came up with this backstory for Trigga that the most traumatic event had happened to her, right? Like all of the women in the biker gang, they've all been molested or raped by men, and she actually talks about the backstory in the movie, in the scene with Vanessa.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, she just inspired, and I mean, it was really much as well after I met Pollyanna through Skype. Actually, it was a lot. You know, just you know, she's a force. She's great. So a lot of the character and inspiration, you know, she brought so much to it that, you know, I can't really take any credit for it. She had so many ideas when we talked. And of course I loved her work, and I thought she would just be the perfect Trigga, you know, because she could have that heart in those scenes, but then at the same time have that might and that darkness that we need at those moments. So.
Absolutely.
Lovely. You know, the question you asked before about, Josh, about the revenge element and stuff, I always thought that, like Melanie says, that Trigga had so much trauma that, to me, the fact that it doesn't just end with that catharsis, like, okay, now you do awful things back to them and then everybody's fine, to me, it spoke so much of how trauma, if not dealt with, is just, you know, this dark ball inside of you that, if it, in her case, could come out in this blind violence and hatred towards men in general, really. But could put her over the edge with her friend, you know, and that for her was so much about the lack of loyalty that she thought was coming from Maggie when she was siding with this, you know, boy, this lover of hers. So trauma not dealt with, you know, it can get messy. So I thought that was kind of a good message for me.
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah, here's one, you know, that's very interesting. I guess it's for you, Melanie, but, you know, anyone can weigh in. We learned that Maggie loses her mother at 15. She joins the gang despite not being able to get justice herself. Is this a comment on the necessity of finding strong female role models?
Sure.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, cool. How long did the shoot take?
12 days.
Wow.
Unbelievable.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, there's like one day where we had 18 pages. It was like the whole bar sequence. We had one day we had 2 company moves. I mean, it was crazy, like 12 days. But you
it was
know,
only 12 days? I swear I was there for a month. Like at least a month.
We should have been. What you achieved, Melanie, in that time was basically it looks like a film that had some time. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. It looks beautiful. Yeah. It really does.
I'm you know, it's so great to be working with a director who rallies the crew in the way that Melanie did. I mean, we all us actors just adored her and looked up to her, but like the crew were like, okay, cool, yeah, great. You know, they were just so in sync. And of course, I didn't have your experience, Melanie, but it seemed from the outside that they were just being, you know, they were just being led by a great inspiration with Melanie.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
I had a great crew and a great cast as well. They were ready for everything. You know,
I think my favorite moment is I arrived to the hotel and Melanie met me and like we sat down to have dinner, I think, and I hadn't shaved in a while, and she goes, hey, "You're gonna shave that, right? Because you look like you're 35." And I was like, "Yeah, it's fine. I'll shave it. It's gonna be okay."
I look like a baby.
But yeah, like right then I was like, "All right, we're gonna be cool. She's not playing around. We're gonna be good."
Yeah.
Well, fantastic. I can't wait for people to see Revenge Ride. I think, they'll be impressed, when they know it was shot in only 12 days. And I mean, it's also just a real roller coaster, and it's fun. It's a fun mix of cultural eras and archetypes colliding. It's something that feels classic, and it is incredibly timely at the same time. When will we be able to see it? Have you guys gotten distribution yet?
It's out on Amazon Prime.
Great.
Yeah, in the States it's out here.
Exactly. In the States, so.
Excellent. So if you missed it at Grimfest, you definitely want to catch it on Amazon Prime because it's a really spectacular film. Listen, guys, I know it's, I personally could talk with you guys for an hour. It's pushing 1 a.m. in the UK. It's the end of the festival. Some good people have to go to work in the morning, but it was my honor to be able to moderate the final panel for Grimfest. And before we go, I just wanted to ask each of you what your favorite revenge movies are and give you an opportunity to plug whatever projects you're working on now. So why don't we start with you, Melanie?
Favorite revenge, Kill Bill. Kill Bill's definitely
that's a good one.
I've been watching a lot of revenge lately, but yeah, I think Kill Bill is for sure the best one.
That's
and I'm probably working on another revenge movie, so I think this is my career now. Yes.
That's
you found
cool.
your niche.
What's it called?
So that's what I really like, Josh, what you said about not calling it, exploitation, the genre, but like calling it the revenge genre, like what you had mentioned earlier. I think that's very smart, because
it's evolved.
Yeah, exactly. It's evolved. We're all evolving. The stories are evolving. So.
Yeah, and we kind of understand the point of the revenge subgenre more, that it was never about enjoying the exploitation. It was about the catharsis of revenge. So yeah. I'm glad that resonated with you because it's something that I feel has been a shift. Thank you so much for your film, for your participation at Grimfest, and for letting me moderate this panel. Jake Lockett, your favorite revenge movie, and what are you working on next?
I'm sitting here trying to think of movies that are have a revenge theme off the top of my head, which has been pretty blank so far. So one of my favorites is John Wick. I'm a big fan of Keanu. I think it's like that type of stuff. I mean, those dogs, man. That's where your heart is. That's one of my favorite ones that jumped off the head. I'm doing a movie at the end of this year called Iron Hunter. It's about a U-boat from World War II, and I play a German lieutenant who helps save his crew after their commander takes his life in battle. It's like the one captain in the German army who took their life, and then I get captured, and that's just my part of the movie. It's really cool film. Yeah.
Can't wait to check it out. Thanks so much. Congratulations on Revenge. I can't wait for people to see it, and thanks for being part of the panel. Vanessa, favorite revenge movie, and what are you working on next?
Does It count? Stephen King's movie when all the kids
Sure, absolutely. Never thought of it that way, but it totally fits.
Yeah, no, that's obviously a great movie, both of them. And the movie I just did that's in theater, it's coming to LA October 23rd. It's called After We Collided, by Anna Todd and Roger Kumble, who directed Cruel Intentions, directed this film. And I have a few
fantastic.
Hey. I look
so
forward
we can
to seeing
check
that.
you out in Revenge Ride and After We Collided. Thank you so much for being part of the panel, and congratulations on Revenge Ride. Your character is so pivotal, and it wouldn't have worked out if it wasn't for the fact that you gave such a compelling and believable performance. So congratulations on that. Can't wait to see what you're working on next. Last but not least, the person I've been trying hard not to gush over this whole time. Polly, tell us some of your favorite revenge movies, and what are you working on next?
Faster Pussycat, Kill, Kill, Kill comes to mind.
Yes.
And I've always loved the stylings of that. And that was one of the reasons that it excited me reading Revenge Ride, because I was like, there is that kind of classic biker chick vibe about it. And so that comes to mind. And I'm about to go to Ireland on Tuesday to Dublin to do a new TV show, which I'm not allowed to talk about. But
makes me want to know even more.
I'm kind of excited, and I get to be a blonde for the first time. And that's really all I should say, because otherwise I'll just get excited and I'll start blabbing. And I've got a movie that I wrote and directed called Getting Away From It All, which is part of a horror anthology called, wait for it, Deathcember. And yes, you're right, it comes out at Christmas. Yeah.
I know a thing or two about that film because it's being released by Epic Pictures, Dread Central's parent company. So we'll have plenty to talk about.
Yes, I did terrible things to my now ex-fiance in it. So it's going to be an interesting sort of, document of that time when we were in love and I was doing terrible things to him as a director, making his character suffer. But now
I definitely want to know the details. We'll put together a nice exclusive for Deathcember around the time it's coming out. And I'd also love to talk to you too, just about going from playing the woman to directing Darlin, which was so underrated. Just one of my favorite films of 2019. I still recommend all the time. So I'd love to talk to you more offline.
Get my email off of Sim, and we can set something up.
Fantastic. That'd be great. Thank you all so much. Congratulations on Revenge Ride. All of you just delivered something that is good entertaining. It's important entertainment. It's timely. It's everything you could want right now when we're all on lockdown. A film that kind of like gets you out of your own space and takes you to another time and place and just lets you feel unbridled for a while. So thanks again for Revenge Ride and everything you guys did to make it happen. I also want to just say thank you all for tuning into Grimfest. It's been an amazing festival. Grimfest is just such a great event. 2020 was a year unlike any others, but the organizers have just been amazing. The attendance has been amazing. These people tuning in. It was just so wonderful for me to be a part of the festival and see all these amazing films. And I can't wait to see what happens in 2021, whether it's virtual or hopefully when we can all meet in person. So
here's to